Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the third installment of my weathering series. Today we will cover Tamiya Weathering Master Powders and Bragdon Enterprises Dry Pigments. Let me begin with this. If you were happy with the way the body looked at the end of the last stage, you may stop there. Now is the time to decide if you want to keep it as is without a clear coat or if you want to seal it in. If you want to do a clear, which I usually do, you really have two choices. The first being the ever-popular modern patina, which is basically a barn find that is cleaned up, then has a gloss clear shot over it. This is how I did the 56 Nomad I just built for the 50s and 60s on Steely's group build hosted by JT from I Need My Garage Time. This is a great way to go, and it is done all the time these days, even in classic heavy trucks. If you are looking for a more weathered build, then it should have been cleared with a matte coat before the salt was removed in the last step. I believe I failed to mention that last time, and I am sorry about that. However, all is not lost, as this M100 was not matte cleared like I usually do, and we can still give it a proper weathering. First, we have the Ranchero, that we used paint as the rust tone, and AK Worn Effects for the release agent to expose the rust. On a build like this, again, if you are happy with just this, then move on to your next step and you are done. With a build like this one, I usually wouldn't do a heavy weathering on it, so I am not going to today. I am just going to add a little depth with the Tamiya Weathering Master Powders. I have had this set a long time now, so they last forever. I'm also going to use them on the M100 in the next step to knock down some of the orange. I will finish it with these Bragdon Enterprises Dry Pigments. These two go a long way. I have had this set at least 7 years. They will be applied with old paintbrushes, while the Tamiya are applied with a makeup applicator. Don't be heavy-handed, you are really only looking for subtle changes. See how just that little bit changed things and added contrast? Here on the fender, it's kind of rough, which is great as the powders will pick out those details. Now to change colors and see if I can add just a little more contrast. And on a build like this, I would stop here and continue the build. This Ranchero is pretty much the formula I began weathering with. I will also say, for my way of weathering, I prefer to use the salt method to the chipping method, regardless of whether it's chipping fluid or hairspray. While I get ready to continue with the M100, let's hear a word from our sponsors.
Sponsor Spotlight.
Check out VCG Resins by Reese. Parts that stand out, service that stands by you. The website is full of great info and is super easy to use. There are plenty of categories to choose from, such as VCG merch, kits, body parts, electrical, chassis and suspension, engine kits, underhood, transmissions, etc. Every item has multiple detailed photos. When cashing out, make sure to use our 10% off Dirt Road Cinderella discount code, DRC 1024.
Check out scalefinishes.com to find original equipment manufacturer correct plastic model paints that are mixed in-house and are 100% accurate for make, model, and year. They even hand mix paints in 2-ounce bottles to maintain color quality and accuracy. These premium pre-thinned airbrush paints are used from the bottle to the model. When cashing out, be sure to use our one-of-a-kind discount code for 10% off your next order.
Thanks for sticking with us and welcome back. It is pretty much the same process with the Tamiya powders. I prefer to have the vehicle assembled when doing anything past a patina. It would be together as if weathered out in the one-to-one world. So I think it should be here in the Dirt Road Cinderella world. As you can see, if you are using sophisticated finishes as a base, then the powders grab on much quicker and heavier. If you don't, it will come to you as soon as brush meets canvas, so to speak. Here, I am just trying to add some road dirt over the lower part of the body. Since the owner of this truck is a small town kid who lives on a dirt road, once I am done with the powders, I move on to the dry pigments. These pigments have a ground-in microadhesive that help it stay attached to the model. I love these powders. I am not sponsored by them. These were given to me by my local hobby shop owner. I have 2 old paintbrushes that I use for this. One has shorter, stiffer bristles, and the other longer and more flexible. I use the short one when I want to apply the pigment more heavily, and thus the other is for lighter, more subtle work. I'm going to start with the darker rust tone and the short brush. Remember, you are not really looking for bold changes at this point. Instead, we are looking for smaller changes and more tones to give depth. You can see with my ADHD brain, I jump around to whatever catches my eye at the moment. That can make this a true task to stay on point. Always remember to put a paper or paper towel under your work. Not all the pigments stay on the body, and they can sure stain your bench or wherever you work. Most of all, try to enjoy yourself and experiment. That's the best way to find what will work for you. Not all of this is for everyone. In fact, it's not for most. But the point is to take something with you and incorporate it into your own process, but only if it improves your build. I will continue to go around the truck as I see or think of things. From the molding down, mostly dirt or earth tone. Above it, I will use a lighter tone. When you are happy, stop. You are done and just finished weathering a build. I think the truck came out pretty well. It has fought me most of the way through this build though, so I am pleased to be near the end of this build. I have already weathered the underside and the engine bay. Tomorrow I can shoot the final on this build and get on to the next. Thank you all so much, and I hope I was of some help to at least some of you. When I mentioned experimenting earlier, I wanted to say try spraying a matte clear before the Tamiya powders. On the next, try it after you have put powder on the body. It tends to blend the powders together in a very neat way. I still do this sometimes just to change up the weathering. Also, remember there is no right or wrong. Do as little or as much weathering as you want. There are going to be people who love it and hate it either way. You are the only one who matters, so again, when you are happy, stop. With that, I am going to stop for today myself. Until next time, remember, keep your blades sharp and your fingers clear. Later, y'all.
Sponsor Spotlight.
Check out VCG Resins by Reese. Parts that stand out, service that stands by you. The website is full of great info and is super easy to use. There are plenty of categories to choose from, such as VCG merch, kits, body parts, electrical, chassis and suspension, engine kits, underhood, transmissions, etc. Every item has multiple detailed photos. When cashing out, make sure to use our 10% off Dirt Road Cinderella discount code, DRC 1024.
Check out scalefinishes.com to find original equipment manufacturer correct plastic model paints that are mixed in-house and are 100% accurate for make, model, and year. They even hand mix paints in 2-ounce bottles to maintain color quality and accuracy. These premium pre-thinned airbrush paints are used from the bottle to the model. When cashing out, be sure to use our one-of-a-kind discount code for 10% off your next order.
Edited, produced, and narrated by Carrie Ann Packard.